Okay, patrons, here we go. We've got Antair playing as the Demon Hunter. We've got Lord Commissar being played by Cry. You're probably thinking, wait, what? Antair? Playing as a Demon Hunter? I thought I only put high-level 1v1s on the Patreon. Well, look, it's got Cry, so I don't know. Cry obviously not known for his IG skills. Cry is known for being a very good player, if not the best player right now. And Antair he's a mid-skill player. But look, we've got a matchup here, so let's see how it goes. I've got a lack of replays right now. There's nothing I can do. I'm casting things left, right and centre. But yeah, this matchup, it's an interesting one. I think the Lord Commissar is really, really strong against Order Malleus. Obviously, it's one I've been playing quite a lot with the League recently. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't like this triple IST shit. I don't think it works very well at all. Because the Sentinel can just bleed the IST so bad. As can the Commissar, actually. Look at this. Yeah, just has to instantly retreat one dead IST. And now these guys are screwed. Because this Commissar with a bloody 17 DPS pistol. Oh, I don't know why he backed off. He probably should have got another model kill. Oh, he's just going to take the green cover, yeah. Because, I mean, he would have been running into the base. So now you just start using line of sight blockers. And it's basically where you pray that you had a strike squad instead of the IST. But Antair right now floating a hell of a lot of requisition. Should have been dropping gens. I don't know if he's worried about a really fast gen bash or something. I'm not sure. This is a mistake from Cry. Definitely should have been using the line of sight blocker. And then would have had more pressure onto the IST rather than getting a decap and losing his Commissar from the field. Now you've lost the pressure. Antair can drop down a load of gens and can basically do what he wants with his triple IST blob right now. Guardsmen were forced into the garrison over here by the Demon Hunter. The other guardsmen are just going to cap up here. Ah, so this is why the gens haven't been dropped. Antair is going for Strike Squad as his fourth squad. Interesting. I wonder why he goes for the IST before the Strike Squad. Huh. He actually gets the Sentinel. Wow. Wow. Big misplay from Cry, and that right there is meant to... The building here on Caldaris Desert, which is the old version of this map. Well, this is just a reskin of it, right? The new building, it's not a line of sight blocker, but it is in Caldaris Desert. That's hilarious. So Cry loses his Sentinel there, and this is obviously how this game goes on so long. I mean, Cry must make a series of fuck-ups, one would think. So as I say, obviously, Antair not generally known as being as good of a player as Cry. But right now, obviously Cry's army is in a horrendous position compared to Antair's. Only having the two guardsmen and the Commissar is not really what you want. Fighting up against 4 units. We've got 1 Sergeant upgrade, we've got the Tomes of Titan, no war gear. We do have the Carapace armor for the Commissar. Now, Power Sword is quite good. Certainly if we see multiple Grey Knight units coming out, that is actual Grey Knight and not Order Malleus. You know, I'm talking Strike Squad, Purgation, Interceptors, the heavy infantry boys, then the Power Sword could be quite a valuable purchase. But maybe not worth spending the 25 power right now, when you only have the Strike Squad to deal with, that the Power Melee would be particularly effective against. We'll see. Cry opting to replace his Sentinel. I don't dislike the replacement of the Sentinel, I just would have done that later. I would have got out Cadishans right now. The thing is, with this build that Antair's using, he has absolutely no detection. The only detection unit for the... Oh, was that an execute? Wow, that was brave. Better get the Lord Commissar out of that. The Lord Commissar's going to die, isn't he? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is an awful start for poor Cry. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Now we have the Emperor's Torch, giving 20% damage resist and heal over time. Well, technically it's increased HP regen, but it's basically heal over time to all nearby troops, including all of these free IST. It is actually quite a nice tool against the Imperial Guard, that war gear. I don't know if it's cost effective. And once again, we see the Sentinel get sniped, proving me correct with the point I was making about get Cadishans first, then replace the Sentinel. Tremendous fuck-ups here from Cry. Tremendous fuck-ups. And I love this. The deployable cover is actually being used by the Strike Squad right now against the Guardsmen. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Wow. Incredible. Hey, he kills a Grey Knight Strike Squad model. I'm sure Cry will be happy with that. He needs whatever he can get right now to stay in this game. But as I was saying before, the only detection unit for the entire Ordo Malleus Tier 1 roster is the Inquisitorial Operatives. They do have access to the Vindicare Assassin. Wow, I just completely forgot then. The Vindicare Assassin in Tier 2, which can detect as well. And interestingly, this ability, Light of the Emperor, does detect in an AoE. So that's actually quite... yeah, it's a nice tool against IG. Because I'll tell you this, you really don't want operatives against IG. The incendiary grenade can be okay, but generally the operatives just bleed a hell of a lot. And Demon Hunter there with the damage resistance and the HP regen, able to tank the Guardsman fire just enough to get that full cap. This game's looking really rough for Cry. ISC don't scale amazing in this matchup. They generally don't really want to trade with Guardsmen. They're just not cost effective at all. The Strike Squad do scale very well. They scale well in every matchup. They're just insane. I honestly cannot believe for the life of me that Cry is going tier 2 with just 2 Guardsmen. It's baffling. This is definitely not a optimal response from Cry to his initial fuck-ups. I really think going for a fast Kadishan and just forgetting the Sentinel, if you really want the Sentinel, I think that's fine because Sentinels are good against triple IST. Just get the Sentinel later. Get the Kadishans first, plant IEDs. A well-placed IED will instantly kill an IST squad. It just wipes them outright. So, you know. And now we've got the heavily nerfed Chimera on the way. And one thing I would say in this matchup is never go transport first as the IG. It's just... I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
The enemy is capturing one of our strategic points.
I don't know why Cry would think that transport first is a decent idea.
The enemy has 300 points remaining.
Now using the Rift. Not sure why. Okay. So we've got Flamer Guardsman over here. Wow. Cry obviously has no idea that Antair is literally the same tech as him. And now he realizes as he sees the Rhino. Now that Antair sees the Chimera, that justifies him going for the Las Cannon. Meanwhile, there is going to be a heavy weapons team coming out, presumably going to be picking up a Las Cannon. This is going to be really rough for Cry. He's got Crusaders running down the side of the map here, forcing off his Flamer Guardsmen. So these guys now, they didn't get their Gen Bash like Cry wanted, and, you know, he's playing against the Grey Knights. Would it not be amazing to get some plasma guns and bully these strike squads? Probably. He's not going to be able to. Oh man. If Antair used Hold Fire, this Chimera would have been dead. He technically had wasted 2 shots prior to the repairing starting. Just something to bear in mind. But look, all the map is now going to Antair. He has destroyed all the gens. He has decapped the natural power point of Cry. And I'm not sure how this is going to go. Right now the problem with the Las Rhino, and honestly I don't really like the Las Rhino against IG that much. It quite literally has its damage out-healed by just double guardsman. Meanwhile, the last cannon set up. The last cannon is executed by the commissar to make it do double damage, and there you go. That is a dead Rhino. Strike Squad are going to try and punish that execute, getting him real close. Crusaders flanking around as well, but they aren't able to wipe the squad. Grey Knight Strike Squad model dies here. Another one might go down as well. Don't have any weapon upgrades yet for the commissar, but we do have the Xenos Power Claw coming in. No fancy abilities on this, but just a really solid, heavy melee Tier 2 weapon. Alright, well that's the comeback that I guess Cry needed. So right now he is going to push forward with his Guardsman. Presumably he has Flamer Guardsman inside. Yeah, the Naked Guardsmen are capping the mid. Flamer Guardsmen get out and they can start bashing these generators. They need to move forward, they're not all shooting their Flamers. Now got the fully upgraded Demon Hunter. Got the Tomes of Tranquility, reducing the cooldown of all his abilities and improving the energy regen. And then we've got the Force Rod, which is a 55 melee DPS melee weapon with an ability that does a little bit of damage and damage over time, but mostly it's knockback, and it also silences the enemies. And you see the knockback used there to disrupt those guardsmen. So they only managed to actually get one gen, which is definitely not what Cry would have been wanting. We shall see. Right now, Antair is in a lot of trouble compositionally because he has absolutely no counter to the Chimera. Crusaders were an interesting choice to put on a lot of pressure because it's just more bodies on the field really quickly. Crusaders right now taking a huge amount of damage from those flamethrowers, getting torn to pieces in retreat by the Commissar. Two of them do fall, and now the cost-effective Guardsman can just outtrade the IST all day long in ranged firefights. IST, very much a skirmish unit. They want to be in and out. They don't really want to be standing there and trading fire with the opponents. Rift comes out, which I find a bit strange. I don't know why you used the Rift there. They didn't need to move, really. And they're going to finish off the Gen Farm. We even have a primary Psycho right now. Going to be upgrading to the Codices of Wraith. Don't know what that does. I am not familiar with the Psycho. I have used him a little bit. Oh, it doesn't tell me what it does either. Oh god, that's well annoying. I was hoping it'd be there. Oh dear. I think that might have been the one to increase his range, but I'm not sure. He is a really good hero against the Ordo Malleus. He will brutalize the IST with his splash damage, that's for sure. And the bleed for Antair is tremendous right now, and he's getting a Vindicare, but it's not really it, to be honest, because again, the Vindicare's DPS is not high. It's a burst damage kind of weapon, so the DPS from the Vindicare will probably just get out-healed by the double guardsman. I'm almost certain of it, to be honest. There's no way this DPS does 30, the Vindicare does 30 DPS to vehicles. That just sounds insane. The Strike Squad got forced off over here. I guess the Chimera rotated around and forced them off, and that leaves the las cannon to cap up this side of the map, which is a great use of the las cannon now. Of course, Antair now has no vehicles, so there would have been nothing else for him to use it for. Demon Hunter, understandably, getting beaten up by that Lord Commissar with his Carapace and Power Claw. Crusaders are running forward, but I don't really know what they're trying to achieve, to be honest. Psychic Assailment is on the Vindicare, so that's nice. That will actually help him quite a bit. 30% extra damage and extra range. With the 30% extra... Wow, look at the range there, jeez. With the 30% extra damage, that probably would out DPS the repairs of Double Guardsman, I think. Yeah, I think Cry is just going to back off to base at this point. Yeah, Vindy, too aggressive. He's going to get killed by the Commissar if he doesn't back off. Definitely needs to back off. Commissar likewise needs to be careful not to over-pursue. Yeah. Oh, why is the Chimera moving forward? Oh no, what is he doing? Oh dear. Ah, Flare, okay, fair enough. That's a good shout. Instantly reducing that speed by 50%. And yeah, you can channel this ability to... Oh, I love that. Psyker forcing melee onto the Vindicator there. If the Strike Squad had their Justicar, they might have a chance actually of killing this just with the power melee, but no Justicar, it's going to be a pretty tough shot that. Let's see how the Psyker does in green cover against the IST. He should actually perform very well. Not if he stood out in the open, he won't. Also, he doesn't want to be shooting the Demon Hunter. The Psyker's basic attack does splash damage, so you definitely want to be attacking the IST with it. Oh, this is going to be a terrible fight for the IST! Oh my god, look at the Flamers! Jeez. Definitely needs to drop down the Emperor's Torch for the damage resist, but even then, man, just an awful fight. I mean, these are just... Okay, no, they do have Commissars now, so these are upgraded Guardsmen. Yeah, IST, they really do have no shot in this matchup. We might see the flak... There we go, Flak Jacket to try and assassinate this Vindicator. I think the Flak Jacket does 330 damage now, or it might be 340. I feel like it did 350 before, and it got a small nerf so it doesn't one-shot Zone Thropes, and ironically, the Vindicator Assassin. Vindicator Assassin does have another upgrade which gives him a bit more HP. Once he sees the Flak Jacket, he's probably going to want that upgrade. Because all it takes basically is one shot from the Commissar's pistol, and then when he retreats he gets executed. So there you go, he's dead. Goodbye. Yeah. Antair clearly didn't check that. He should have been clicking that Commissar quite a lot to check for the Flak Jacket. And that play there, I don't really understand that. There was no need to be taking that fight. Why did Antair need to take that fight? It doesn't register to me. He didn't need to. Could have just backed off ages ago. Crusaders leading the charge doesn't feel very appropriate. That's a lot of bleed. Well, only one of them died somehow. And the Rift comes in. Psyker needs to be very careful. Probably wants to be getting inside the... Okay, no he doesn't. They're fine. Jeez. That... Oh. Such crazy bleed. Psychic Fortress there dropped on the Crusaders, just snaring everything as they charge in, but... Doesn't matter if they just hold their ground, dig their boots in and shoot the shit out of you. Strike Squad gonna go for the back cap on the natural wreck here, delayed for quite a lot of time actually by the mine. And the Chimera rotates perfectly. I think Cry's gonna win this. Plasma Gun's coming out on the other squad of Guardsmen now, the one that doesn't have the Flamer. It's actually quite nice because the Flamer is putting in huge work against Crusaders and all these IST. It's quite rare, you know, he's playing against Grey Knights and there's only one heavy infantry squad in the field right now. No Purgation. No Interceptors, no Purifiers. Purifiers are actually pretty damn good against IG. You know, you can get the armor on the Demon Hunter that does the snare on the vehicles as well as increasing the damage that they take, and then you can kill it quite easily with Purifiers in melee because it's too slow to actually run away. Because Purifiers do very good base damage and the Justicar actually does heavy melee. So yeah, Antair basically is fucked right now. He's going for another Rhino, but you know, he had a Rhino before, it didn't work. I mean, he has actually killed the last cannon at some point. I assume the strike squads that have been running around the sidelines probably were the ones who achieved that, but... Well, Christ tier 3, so I don't really... I don't know what Antair's going to do when the Lehman Russ comes out. However, the VPs are pretty damn low, only 88 VPs, so maybe he can... I don't know. Maybe Antair can stall long enough that he wins on a VP game before that tier 3 unit comes out. Psyker is silly low right now. He gets taken out by the Crusaders. Crusaders are actually doing quite good here. Definitely should be meleeing the Guardsmen because right now they're just getting roasted. Oh dear. Crusaders probably going to wipe from the Commissar. Oh! Beautiful knockback there from the Demon Hunter, I believe that was, with his Force Rod. And oh, the problem for the Las Rhino is it can't just stand and shoot because there is a Commissar with a Power Claw that is tearing it to pieces. Of course, when you move your Las Rhino, it starts shooting at the nearest target, which is now the Commissar, so the Chimera is plenty safe. Psychic Fortress activated on the Demon Hunter here, draining the energy from the Commissar's shield, but more importantly, slowing him so he can no longer pursue the Las Rhino. But it doesn't matter, the Lord Commissar has a very short-lived duel there with the Demon Hunter, yeets him away, and says, Rhino, I'm coming for you next. Lord Commissar's going to take out this Las Rhino. Desperate plays to try and get rid of this Chimera for Enter. And honestly, I've got to be honest with you guys, I think the Chimera is fucking useless in this matchup. I think the Chimera generally is crap now. I think it's over-nerfed. But in this matchup in particular, I think it's so bad. The Demon Hunter, with his Rites of Exorcism from his AV armor, if he activates that, then Interceptors and Strike Squad alone can kill a Chimera, and they only do 6 models of normal melee damage and 2 models of power melee damage. So just think what happens if you go for a build like this, triple IST and strikes. That build opens you up to going Purifies first in tier 2. Then you get the Rites of Exorcism. There's no way the Chimera is going to live. You can't out DPS, you can't out repair the DPS of Purifiers in melee when you have 40% damage resistance reduction on your Chimera, right? Now, God forbid there is operatives as well. Say it's 2 IST Strike Squad operatives. Well, then the operative Melter Bomb does a load of damage, and technically you actually want to use the Demon Hunter Rites of Exorcism first, then you use the Melter Bomb, so the Melter Bomb gets 40% extra damage compared to normal. That's going to be, what, 200 and something damage? Low 200s? The Chimera is already on 300 health, for God's sake. But now you've stacked 2 snares, so the Chimera gets immobilized, and it lasts for ages, man. It lasts for like 10 seconds or something. You can just kill it with the Strike Squad then. If the Guardsmen get out, they can start out repairing the Strike Squad to an extent. Depends. If you add in Plasma, you add in Interceptors. But even if the Guardsmen get out, you just start meleeing the Guardsmen, the Strike Squad gets specials, send them flying, you're getting loads of XP, you're bleeding the IG. If you've got Purifiers, the Chimera's fucked. So that's often what we see. Instead of going for the Chimera, we often see the Imperial Guard in this matchup going for Ogryns first. Because Ogryns actually stomp the Strike Squad. They're one of the few units that can. Because super heavy infantry protects you from normal melee damage. And Auto Malleus generally lack power melee in tier 2. They only have the Purifiers, who obviously melt to double Plasma Guardsmen, which is part of the reason why the Flamer was such an interesting choice here for Cry, but it worked out perfectly, you know? It countered the Crusaders and the triple Inquisitorial Stormtroopers, and it helped Cry get that Gem Bash, which basically brought him back into the game. Honestly, looking at that tier 1, I can't believe this even went on as long as it did. But here, there you go. You've got some exposure to the IG versus Ordo Malleus matchup. Just a heads up for you guys in the Patreon. What I'm going to do with the Patreon in order to get a bit more of activity on it, now I'm playing the game again regularly, and we've got the League ongoing, so I'm getting 1v1 exposure. I'm going to be doing guides on matchups and for maps in the 1v1 scene. Those guides are going to be on the public YouTube channel, but then I'm going to have gameplay where I feel like I had close, really high level games where I played near perfect, like 90% perfect, in each of the matchups. And those are going to be exclusive to Patreon. So if you want the absolute epitome that we can get in the current skill level of Dawn of War 2 for Ordo Malleus being the first faction, hopefully I will eventually do this with every faction. I basically want to do it once every 4 months or something. So you'd get gameplay that's close to the epitome of what you can get from Dawn of War 2 skill level. So yeah, anyway, there you go. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thank you for supporting me on the Patreon. And if you have more high level replays, please send them in because I need that shit. Torpid signing out.